The Arctic, a place of beauty and mystery, but also a place of danger. Many explorers have wanted to understand the mystery that is the Arctic and have faced dangers to discover this place. With temperatures dipping as low as -40 degrees in the winter, the Arctic is a frigid place. However, despite the dangers, there have been men to journey out into the Arctic.
One of the major dangers of the Arctic is the cold. From the beginning of Arctic exploration until now, the extreme temperatures that occur in the Arctic are like nothing seen anywhere else on the planet. The cold keeps people out of the Arctic, therefore, the explorers that journey there are miles from help. If an emergency were to occur while exploring, they are on their own. In addition, the danger of the terrain is always a factor. Terrain such as crevices, glaciers, mountainous and coastal terrain are all very real dangers. The weather can shift in an instant. Blizzards can form, eliminating nearly all visibility, and with it, shifting the temperatures drastically.
Despite the many dangers of traveling to the Arctic, there was a drive in some people that pushed them to explore the poles. Men like Robert Peary, Sir Ernest Henry Shackleton, and Barry Lopez all saw the opportunity the Arctic had and they took advantage of it. For Robert Peary and Henry Shackleton, the exploration was a race. During their time, many explorers had a fever to travel to the unmarked territory and make discoveries. For men like Barry Lopez, he wanted to travel for the experience, not worrying about anything else. His comrades were worried about their research in the Arctic, which is the next generation of Arctic exploration.
Robert Peary was a famous Arctic explorer in the early 1900s. On the majority of Peary's expeditions, he traveled by dog sled. Unlike some of the conventional methods of the time, Peary studied Inuit survival skills and built igloos. He dressed in furs to stay warm and was a very successful explorer. On April 6, 1909, Robert Peary became the first man to reach the North Pole.
Sir Ernest Henry Shackleton was a famous polar explorer. His major explorations took him to the South Pole and the Transantarctic Mountains. In 1914, Shackleton led a group of explorers on the Imperial Transantarctic Expedition, where his goal was to cross Antarctica.
They took a ship named the Endurance, and on January 19, 1915, the Endurance got trapped in the ice. In September, the ice began to break up. However, this was not good news, because the ship had large cracks in it from the ice and began to sink. Shackleton and his crew were forced to abandon ship and became stuck on Elephant Island. After living off of seal, penguin, and whale meat for a year, Shackleton and some of his crew took a lifeboat, which they saved from the ship, to South Georgia Island. They hoped to find land at the whaling station. However, they ended up on the opposite side of the island and had to walk across the entire island. Shackleton finally reached the station on May 20th, 1917. He could not rescue the rest of his crew until August 30th of that year.
Another inspirational Arctic explorer is different from the other explorers talked about. Barry Lopez is an Arctic explorer from the more recent generation. His drive to go to the Arctic did not come from wanting to be first like the others. His drive came from the dream of exploring, making discoveries, and keeping everyone safe. On one of Lopez's trips to the Arctic, he departed with a small crew from Pingoak Island and went to explore. It was only a day trip, but the entire safety of the crew was threatened by a storm that was coming from the southwest.
Why did you and your crew decide to go out into the Arctic when you knew there was a storm approaching?
We still went out because we knew what we had to do and we were determined to get my companion's data. It was stemmed from a desire to live on the edge.
All of the crew went on the excursion well aware of this threat. They took many precautions if something would happen and were prepared for the worst. Also, there was something special about this crew. They worked better than a team. They had camaraderie.
Where did your camaraderie come from?
It came with our enthusiasm for our work and our exhilaration with the landscape.
On their excursion, while they were collecting data, the unthinkable happened. Ice had blown in from the oncoming storm and threatened to close them off on all four sides. Together they worked diligently to accomplish the goal of getting free from the surrounding ice. They moved through the water quickly, trying to find any openings they could, and when there were no openings, they made them by breaking the ice away with chisels. Then the crew's first real obstacle appeared. A large piece of ice was blocking the path at what appeared to be open water. There were only two options: crack the ice and hope it doesn't roll on the boat and sink it, or take the boat over the land. Without discussing what the crew wanted to do, they lugged a 3,000-pound boat over the ice and back in the water.
How did you and your crew know exactly what to do without talking to each other?
We all knew what our tasks were, and we had to work together to get out.
However, this was not the end of their struggles. The ice was still surrounding them, and they needed to find a way out. Barry Lopez and another crew member went on the ice, looking for a clearing. Lopez found an opening and signaled his crew to come. With the channel closing quickly, Lopez and another man jumped out of the boat and chopped away at the ice to make a clearing for the boat. Together, they worked as a team to escape the ice. However, Lopez's journey was not over. Not yet. It turns out that when he was acting selflessly to save the boat, he was unaware of his physical state. Half of Lopez's body was soaked with freezing water. Upon realizing this, and out of imminent danger, Lopez went into a type of hypothermia. His crew, with their knowledge, saved Lopez's life. What was going through your mind when that happened?
I'm not exactly sure. I remember being cold and safe, but I slept until we got to Pincock.
How did you feel once you made it to Pincock?
I couldn't have done it if everyone wasn't working together as a team.
What did you learn overall through your entire adventure?
I learned that in order to accomplish things, you have to trust each other no matter what situation you're in.
All in all, Arctic exploration has been about the curiosity of the unknown. Robert Peary was an early explorer who was the first person to reach the North Pole. Sir Ernest Henry Shackleton wanted to cross the entire continent of Antarctica. However, his expedition was changed when his ship came trapped in the ice and eventually sank. However, despite all odds, he led his crew to safety. Barry Lopez performed a similar task with his crew, who were only planning for a one-day expedition. Nearly became trapped in the ice. However, through camaraderie, the crew was able to pull together and escape the danger.